Okay. We're going to be reviewing the Balanced Druid talent tree today. Probably going to be uploading this to YouTube. Say hello, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Okay. So basically, I'm gonna have a notepad here. It's how do we want to format this? Things we like, things we want to see changed. Probably something like that. I think that that's probably pretty fair. Like doing it like this means that like it isn't only going to be a negative thing, which I think that overall, I looked at this beforehand, and I was overall relatively happy with the talent tree. I thought that like a lot of the stuff that was in there was about what was expected. There were some things though that I wanted to give feedback on, and he changed. Okay, so if you're watching this on YouTube, definitely you can look it out in the description for the article that I'm looking at. I'm posting in chat right now as well if you haven't seen it. It's on Wowhead. It's basically all over Wowhead. So the Balanced Druid talent tree, got a preview. We have all of the talents. So the left side is just like class talents. Right side is spec specific stuff. And then the bottom nodes are like the good shit. Bottom nodes of both of these trees are like the good shit. What else is important? 30 points per side, right? I think is what it was. And then can't go like up. So like if you started here, you couldn't go up into decurse. You would have to start from this. You'd have to like if you started with Starfire and stuff like that, you couldn't go then up into decurse. You would have to go. You'd have to restart a 31 for class, 30 for spec. There you go. So 31 for class, 30 for spec. And basically the general design philosophy is that you're going to be getting 2 out of 3 of these slices, yeah, kind of thing. Which makes more sense for other specs where they have actually like 3. Like you're supposed to be only getting 2 of these. For balance, there's a lot more node options. So basically, you only have 30 points to be able to spend. So you can kind of look at this and kind of math your way through like what we can and can't have simultaneously. But we're going to be looking at these kind of in isolation. Yeah, but also important to note that you can start new paths, stuff like that. Especially for the class one specifically, you can start like new paths, and this allows for some really interesting combinations. Okay, with that out of the way, well, the biggest thing that changed is that these are all of our baseline abilities. I'm gonna keep it a stack. I'm not sure if I like. I don't know if I necessarily want to see it change. Okay, so let's actually break this up into a third part. Things we don't know if we like or not. I think that the abilities that they picked baseline and how they shoehorn you into certain talents. Okay, so this feels really weird. I'm not sure if I like this. I think that I'm leaning towards no initially. But this is actually more prominent for other classes. So for Druid specifically, for Balance specifically even, it wasn't like, it's not that problematic. But just for an example, so look at this. Skull Bash is on this row right here. And like you basically have to talent into that. Whenever you're looking at Death Knight, so the Death Knight row is also a thing, and like Mind Freeze is like one of these nodes. And so like you have to talent into that. For Balance, our Solar Beam is here, right? So Solar Beam is like in the middle of our tree, so we're able to get to Solar Beam basically for free in our spec row. But there are certain things that like you have to be talenting into. But so I think that the kind of abilities that they gave us baseline are kind of strange, right? So basically you have Wrath, Moonfire, these are standard, this is expected. Regrowth, this is expected. Actually, that's like less expected. Regrowth is less expected than Rejuve, I guess, in my mind, but whatever, it doesn't really matter too much. most of these are like, okay, yeah, I understand, but these are like these are baseline at a class level, and so it just there's no spec. There's no like spec talents now. And so like with there being no spec talents, it's kind of strange. Oh yeah, it's also worth mentioning that you get 2 points for free based on your selected spec, like in your class tree. Like you get the two free. Um, but yeah, so it's like weird because so like we get all the shapeshifts. This is fine. We actually get pretty good shit, all things considered. It's not like the worst thing, but we get basically by talenting Moonkin specifically, we don't get good shit. We get a bunch of we have to talent into all of our good stuff. Um we do get Mark of the Wild. Don't know. Raid buff. Raid buff. So it increases the target's speed and critical strike chance by 3%, and reduces their magic damage taken by 3%. Broken. Targets in your party or raid all remember. Which I mean, pretty anti-raid buff. Okay. I just think raid buffs in general. Okay, so let's look at some of these because I was about to say something specifically about innervate and stuff like that and power infusion. Like clearly it's talk about it. I think just in general, like I'm going to be looking at more of the stuff, but like obviously there's going to be a lot of flavor that you can pick and a lot of cool builds that you can go potentially for Mythic Plus, that kind of thing. Wild Charge, by the way, has to be talented, so Wild Charge and Soothe have to be talented. Do those in a second, so you have to go towards the middle of this row pretty heavily more often than not. There's a lot of good stuff that we would like to have ideally, and a lot of stuff that we're probably going to be giving up on the left side of this row because we can't really. Okay, so row one, I mean, this is the baseline thing that we were talking about earlier, where you get the 2 free points. Whenever you talent into Moonkin, you get Starfire. It's not a baseline ability. You just get Starfire. Yeah, it's like granted by default when selecting the balance specialization. So, not for free. In the same vein, you get Star Surge. So basically, these are spec abilities that you get. You just get them for free. You get Star Surge and Starfire, notably not Starfall, which is it makes sense, right? Because like you don't want Feral or Resto to actually have access to Starfall. It'd be really funny, but it would kind of suck. And then you also get the talent into Moon Conform, because like otherwise you're not gonna have Moon Conform. I don't know. It's kind of a weird one. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of a weird talent to have to talent into Moon Conform and not just. But I guess it makes sense to not make Moon Conform baseline because it's been tied to affinities. But I think overall it's kind of weird. And then the next row, God, okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. Yeah, open. What the? Was it like 360p? Okay. All right. Now we got that. Now we got it. Let's fog. Um. Okay, so then we have this choice between Hybe, which is on the right. Like, it's nice to be okay. So here's actually where we start to get into good choices, right? Or interesting choices. Increased healing and magic damage. Healing and magic damage dealt is going to be increased by whatever. This is mandatory for balance specifically. Like that's a mandatory pick. You're always going to be taking that. Hibernate is like on the right side of this. This is going to be like pretty it's like optional for you to be able to take. You don't have to take it, but like you definitely want it. And so this is where we start to actually get into some interesting stuff. Because on the same row is Moon Conform, I guess it was on the last row. There's also Remove Corruption and Frenzy Regen, which at that point it's like, okay, so there's actually there's a lot of stuff that's like right here, right? So I think that like just the general default Moonkin pick is going to be like up this resto tree, because it's so weird because like you're gonna want the remove corruption stuff like that, and you can't go notably like back up these rows, and we have to figure out a way to we gotta figure out a way to spend 8 points. So like I think that like the frenzy regen into Barkskin into this improved frenzy regen one is probably pretty solid. That row. At the same point, this resto one into empowered Barkskin into
goodbye, jellyfishy.
Tettles meowdy.
Into this improved frenzy is also pretty. I think for the reason. Yeah, so like you have to spend certain. So we have to spend 8 points here. So then this question of like what are we actually spending our 8 points on? So like it'd be like, so you spend 1 on this, and you spend 4, and then we need to spend. We don't need to spend 4 more. All right. I think that you really want the dispel. Like the decurse is like normally pretty solid. Hibernate for 1 point is also pretty decent, because like somebody in my chat said, dragon expansion. Maybe Hibernate's actually valuable. Hibernate historically has not been super useful because it only works on beasts and dragons. But one of the cool things is like you can untalent and like out of the dispel for specific dungeons and specific raids. Like there's no need to talent that perma, and it's only if it like opens up something cool. If it doesn't open up necessarily anything, then it's less of an engaging thing. But it's cool that we have the option, right? And so I think our first little bit, this is a lot of stuff that we've had like baseline, but now we're able to kind of get it. I don't want to say all, but we're able to get most of what we want. I think Improved Frenzy is probably pretty solid. I think that Improved Frenzy is a decent pick. I think just like the general Frenzy regen also not bad. I don't know. This is a close one. So like if you don't want the decurse, you could actually just take this. You just take the Frenzy as well. Just starting. Beyond that, then it's like
Hello, jellyfishy. Hello.
Wild Charge versus Tiger Dash. Yeah, thank you for the resub. Welcome back.
Don't.
Wild Charge versus Tiger Dash, which I mean, it's always Wild Charge, right? It's always Wild Charge. Yeah, is this well honed on the bottom left? Actually, I haven't looked at it yet. Yeah. It's a sad day that we can't make it all the way. We're never going to make it to the bottom left, I don't think. That's a tough one for us to make it to. That's a goner. We got because we have to go up this right side. So after we get our 8 points, where are we? We're into this one, aren't we? We're probably not talenting. We'll talent clone at some points, but in reality, we're not going to talent clone all too often. The big things that we're going to talent out of this are this Wild Charge, and because we're going to need to be able to get to that. And then we have to get this Astral Influence. We don't have to, but have to. Just because of where it is, right? So like looking at where this node is and like what it's going into later, we have to have this. It increases the range. It's the one that gives us additional range per point. So we'll put 2 into that. When do you think that WoW's gonna have calculators? No clue. Hopefully soon. That'd be ideal, right? Okay. Then, so yeah, that's basically what like but this is also on the road Skull Bash. So it's a question of can we get to here, right? So can we go Guardian, Thrash, Swipe, Thick Hide? Is that what this is? What I think this is. Oh, increase armor. It's increase armor and physical damage. Can we get through this? Because we have to put 3 points into this to be able to get Skull Bash. So I think the answer is like more often than not, we're not going to be able to get to this interrupt. Maybe we'll be able to have enough points if we give up a lot of shit. And like maybe this is some of the way that we can spend some of our 8 required points on the lower end. But I think you're going to be giving up a decent number of the good shit to be able to get there. And yeah, like somebody in my chat, like Guilty said, putting 3 points into physical damage is cringe for balance. Like you don't necessarily want to do that. You're going to be losing out on a lot. You really would like that interrupt. Having Skull Bash on Moonkin would be cool. Maybe. If you can put 1 point into this and get Skull Bash, that would be nice. I don't expect it to be that way. I think you're going to have to fill out these +3s to be able to get to the node later. Okay, so now we're on Sunfire. Like, you're talenting this. We want it. It's always a high DPET ability. What is this? What is the Cenarian Ward one? This is Thick Hide. Oh, it's just called Increase Healing Gun and Healing Taken. We may be able to get to this because we're in the Remove Corruption row, right? So we're gonna have some flexibility here. And so I think that this is like 2 points that we're probably going to be able to have for free. Right? So it's really easy for Moonkins to go up the right side, but it's really hard for us to go up the left without losing a lot. Because we have to take the Sunfire. We have to take the improved Sunfire. Sunfire now applies its damage over time effects to all enemies within 8 yards. Like, is there ever a time, like, I guess maybe on a Patchwork boss, you could maybe not take that if you're able to get, like, good shit out of it. But this feels like more often than not, this is an auto select. And we have to get 20 points into here to get to this. So, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're gonna take this Typhoon. 11, 12, 13. 14, 15. Then we have like 3 points to play around with, right? So the question is like, where do we want to put those? You technically put in Hibernate. I mean, then at that point, you're starting to get to the question of like, oh, okay, is actually going up this side to get Skull Bash reasonable? Yeah. Paint is the strat for sure. Okay. Paint. Okay. So like, oh shit. Size, okay. Big. I should just use Photoshop like a professional. Like that's mandatory. I'm just gonna mark the ones that are like almost mandatory. Like those are pretty much it, yeah. And then then the rest of it's flexible. I guess this is probably mandatory. Give me that. Does this even count for one? Or do we just get this for free? Write the numbers on the screen. I don't know. Anyways, okay, so what is this? 4? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, hold on. We'll just say that we don't have to do this. This is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14. So we'll say that we need to take these, like because for Mythic Plus these are mandatory, right? Because we're at 14 here. Because like, okay, so the only way we want Skull Bash is for Mythic Plus, right? Whatever. We'll say that this is mandatory. So we'll say 15, 16. I'll say 16. And that's what this is, 16. So we have to get over 20 across this. I don't know if we necessarily want Wild Growth. I think at this point we start to go down into here. So then like 17, we'll put a point into this, 18, and then we have like one free point. It would be like Typhoon probably. 19, and then like we have another free point, which either be Clone or Hybe. It's so hard for us to get to this because this is like, because we have like four free points, but we need to be able to spend like 7. Yeah, I don't know. It's just tough. It's weird. It's really hard to get to the Hibernate. So then it's like once you're at 20 here, we're kind of chilling. Like this will probably be the 20 that's like almost default, right? It's with Typhoon. It's without Hibernate, although you can get it if you want to. It's with improved Sunfire. You can either get Clone. Then you start to, and so this is most of the shit that people don't know anything about. Yeah. So what did we say? We had 30 points for this. Was it 31? Oh, it's 31, I think. And so now we have like, so with the way that we set this up, we actually have points for the good shit. So we can actually get into. Okay, so first off, for those that don't know, we're going straight down into this nature's. We're going straight here, straight here, straight here every time, and it's not even close. This ability, if you don't know what this is Nature's Vigil. Most broken shit ever. It's like Vamp Embrace but good. For 20 seconds, all single target healing and damage spells and abilities also heal a nearby friendly target based on the amount of damage done. 20% for heals, 40% for damage spells, 1.5 minute CD. Broken. Fucking broken. Broken ability, we're going straight down into that. We're putting points in that every single time. It's not even going to be close. Innervate, you know. Some people respect healers. Sometimes. I'll talent Innervate, I guess. And then for here, this is obviously like subjective. More like 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be in Ursul's Vortex. Sometimes you can talent into Mass Root for the one fight it's broken on. And so this is turbo broken. I don't think we're ever going down into this Wild Growth empowered rejuve node. So it's like rejuve's duration is increased in Wild Growth. I don't think we're ever going into that node because I think we're going to spend the remainder of our points here. Yeah. Where it's in this renewal renewal row. Lycara is an insta-take? Which one is Lycara? Oh, you gain stat based on your current form? Yeah, is this thing? Yeah. Yeah, and this thing is like mandatory for us damage-wise. Is this? Yeah. So this 3-point leaf, mandatory. You may want some of your points into Ursine sometimes, but I think that like, what are we at 20? 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 7, 28, 29. You put 1 point in Ursine, 30, something like that. That's probably fine. Actually, I think that I miscounted because I don't think I made this count as 1. So I think that we're gonna have like less points than that. So I don't think we're gonna be able to put any in Ursine if we put. So I think we'll either put 1 in Ursine or put. Okay, so it's improved Stampeding Roar. It's improved Stampeding Roar renewal. Damn, these are okay. Anyways, so this whole section here, you're gonna be getting. You're getting Heart of the Wild almost certainly. I guess situational you can drop Heart, but Heart is like really solid. As general use case, you could probably drop that if you don't feel like it. I think overall things that I like. really cool abilities, really cool base, really cool druid flavored abilities, right? Like that's like that's one of the things that the class has always been good at. It's like the flavor of the class is always super solid. Um, Brought back a bunch of cool shit. Yeah, we'll get to the balance stuff. What's the best way to use Heart of the Wild? So it's kind of weird, right? So we're specking Heart of the Wild, but we're not gonna have Wild Growth, or we're not gonna have Empowered Rejuve. That's like a tough one, right? So we have like the shitty Rejuve, we have the shitty Swift Mend. I don't know. It's kind of unclear, like what the best way of being able to use the Heart of the Wild at that point is going to be. Um, Yeah, no clue. It's gonna be close. Like I think you may be able to get a point if you can splurge a point into this wild growth. Then obviously Heart of the Wild is gonna be super solid, and I think it's gonna be a tough sell, right? Obviously, I may have since I don't have a talent calculator, I may have fucked up and miscounted on some of these, but it's not the end of the world. Like you're gonna have to make some sacrifices. A lot of this left tree we're not gonna be able to go into all too often outside of like first couple to be able to get us at 8 points. Yeah. Generally, a lot of the left side of the tree is going to be really tough. Okay. Let's go and do... Let's go and do the balance tree. Okay, so wait, actually, hold on. Were there things that we didn't... Things that we want to see changed about the base class tree? I don't know if I had any necessarily off the top of my head that I was like... I think that like... Class buffs moved even... All class buffs removed. Even Mark of the Wild. Some of these nodes are mandatory, but I'm kind of okay with some of these nodes being mandatory. Oh, what was the one that was like free astral power? This one, Pure. This thing is if Pure is meta slash stance, dancing is a meta strategy for yes, Druid, then you have a bet. I remember reading about this. So basically what it is like whenever you shift into a form you haven't been in for 20 seconds, your abilities cost no rage, energy, astral power, or mana. And it's one of those things that like if you pair it, if like we're forced to take it and stance into cat form ever, it's an 8th. I don't want to be doing that. Even if it is like because I don't know how ferals feel. I don't want to speak for them. Maybe it's a nice option if swapping into Moonkin form is damage neutral for whatever reason. On certain specific encounters, it may be okay if it's damage neutral. I can't speak for them. I have no idea. I know that for me, if I have to swap into cat form and get into melee, I'm not having it. Like it's not a thing. I don't want it. Get me out. I don't want to be a cat. I don't want to be a cat in melee. Okay, let's talk about the balance stuff. Balance stuff is actually kind of cool. Okay, so we have what 30 points for this, I think. So we automatically get this, and it's just our Eclipse mechanic. So the Eclipse looks like it's coming back. Zoom in. Paint not have the option to zoom in by specific numbers? God, this is a great program. I wonder why Dratnos uses. Anyways, whatever. Okay, so the top node, it's we have Eclipse. It's coming back basically, casting 2 Starfires and Power's Wrath, casting 2 Wraths and Power's Starfire. Eclipse's current alteration. It seems like this is staying. I've seen contentious points on people who hate Eclipse. Personally, don't mind it. Like I understand why some people think it's monotonous. At the same point, I don't feel like there's a better system. At least for the design of the spec currently, I'm mostly okay with it. But I understand counterpoints as why some people wouldn't be. Go Cat. Yeah, I think I won't. What'd you think of Legion Balance? I thought it was. I think that if they're looking for a blueprint for Moonkin, I think that Legion Balance should be definitely the blueprint for Moonkin. I think that spec, bang. At the same point, I thought that their empowerments in Legion were worse. Arguably worse than that. Okay, so first off, we have improved Eclipse and improved Sunfire and Moonfire. These things are like, you want both. Like, you really want both. I don't see a world where you don't actually take both in some capacity. And like, having to redot pretty often kind of sucks. And so maybe if you can't afford it, you don't take this empowered Sunfire and Moonfire. But I think the empowered Eclipse, like numerically, this is like solid. You guys like the Boomy Tree overall? I'd say so. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it in a second. Overall, I think that I'm a fan. I think that there's some stuff that I'm pretty questionable on, but we're in a second. Force of Nature. So this is a talent that you can actually avoid taking fairly often. This is a talent that I'm glad that is making a return, but it is a completely optional talent that you probably are going to see it almost only in Mythic Plus. And you're just going to be able to save a point here unless you're doing a dungeon. The ability to be able to take Warrior Valoon. So like we more often than not have had to like sack Warrior Valoon, even though sometimes we want it to be taken. I think that like the options that we're having here, these make for pretty competitive options. And then Nature's Balance is like a completely passive option. It's weird because our Owlkin Frenzy is locked behind Nature's Balance, but it's unclear, at least to me, how much this, right? It's weird because like I don't with how Owlkin Frenzy works, you have to take direct Rock Owlkin. Like not super clear as to whether or not you're going to need that. Like it's nice whenever it procs, but I think that you could save a point here more often than not because like there's no way to really take advantage of it in capacity. And then there's like the fights that I can just randomly proc on. If you're gonna take this, it's because you need to spend 8 points here. But I think there's better shit to spend 8 points on than Owlkin Frenzy. Like, I think there are better things to spend 8 points on than that. Like this is a mandatory take. You're always taking Celestial Alignment. It's you're always taking Starfall. I think this is a weird spot where you kind of want all of this shit. So it's like what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Are we actually just gonna take 9 points here? I don't know. There's something weird. There's something weird going on with this Nature's Balance. Like we have to take like a bunch of points down below. So because like these I would say are almost mandatory. These are optional, more optional at least. I don't know. It's weird. Like I don't know. It's a weird spot. Like you want to take a bunch of points down here, and I think Owlkin Frenzy is just gonna get axed because like it's really hard to do that. Okay, so anyways, yeah. So this is mandatory. This is this is also relatively mandatory. Yeah, I think this is also relatively mandatory. Mostly because like in addition to it, you giving Starfall, you also have to talent this into to be able to get to the Empowered Star Surge. And so like there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff that you really want to be able to get to here, and it's like okay, we're starting to run into this issue where I don't have enough points for everything I want, right? And so I'm gonna have to start giving up some shit later. And so like Solar Beam, in Raid you can give this up. In Mythic Plus, this is absolutely mandatory. So this is like a question of content that you're doing. In Mythic Plus, dude, you're gonna have so many options of like random shit that you're picking from, which is the nice part about this. Okay, we're gonna add this to things we like, things we really like. A lot of M plus flexibility. Very cool. You want Goldrins? It depends on the amount of damage that this does, right? People like this aesthetically. But just in general, it depends on the damage it does. More often than not, you're almost always going to be going. So we have to talent in a celestial alignment. And so then we're making a decision on are we going to the left side of the tree or are we going to the right side of the tree? It kind of depends on like what nodes we're going to be taking here a little bit later. And so like we have to be like looking at this on like a more meta level. So Starfall. So this side of the tree has, at least to me, seemed a lot more single target focused. And this side of the trees has seemed a decent bit more AoE focused, just in general, because you're getting a lot of your Starfall stuff. You're getting your Stellar Drift. Hold on, I'll show you guys. The Stellar Drift is on this row 7. Or no. Improved Starfall, which is like the dot duration thing, is on row 7. Stellar Drift is on row 8. And then you have Anshay versus Alune Empowerment, which is like some Eclipse extendo. And then you have Onets versus Dreambinder, which for Mythic Plus you can always take Onets, right? This is like an AoE option. For Mythic Plus you can always take Fury of Alune here, which is also an AoE option. Stellar Twin Moons being here with Stellar Flare is kind of awkward, but it is what it is. What is this? On an eclipse, the cost of Star Surge and Starfall is decreased by 5-10% to rank talent. Oh, so this is our tier. This is our tier set. This is our 4 set from this tier. That's nice. So yeah, I think overall, like, what is this? Is this Old Forest? What does it actually give us? Eclipse's Wrath, Astral Powers generation increased by 50%, increased Starfire's AoE damage by 150. Okay, so yeah, it's the same. Yeah, I think that, okay, so I think that it's like going to be very difficult to prioritize what you want here, because on the far right hand side you have like Orbit Breaker, which is our the Azurite trait that you want. And, okay, so I actually think that the Syzygy talent broken. So this node, these two nodes, if for some reason you can get to here, bangers, by the way. So Syzygy, Celestial Alignment now blasts all targets between you and the selected area for astral damage and applies Moonfire and Sunfire to them. Okay, that's cool. Primordial Arcanic Pulsar is like obviously the same thing. Every 400 astral power spent, you get CA. Those are cool. And then it's Orbit Breaker, which is attached to it. So like you actually want some of the stuff that's on the right side, but the question is like, how the hell am I going to get to this? Because like, do I really want to go through Star-Lord to get to here, which is like a purely single, not purely, but it's like mostly single target thing, right? I think that like it's nice. It's nice that oh, CA dots everything now? Wait. Does it? Oh my god, it does. Okay, thank you for telling me that. Thank you, chatter. Applying Moonfire and Sunfire to all enemies. Find it down. Alright, so now the syzygy thing seems like a little bit more of a waste. So maybe less useful. Maybe, but anyways, as I was saying, like this whole area seems a lot more single target damage focused. So like this may be more of a raid build, and this area over here maybe more Mythic Plus options. Yeah, that's what it looks like, at least to me. And so I think that you're gonna, like, I don't say lock yourself, but I think you're gonna put yourself in a lot of builds. They're also brought back the interrupt, 15 seconds off successful interrupt. I don't know. It's weird because like you need to go into the side. You think that right side is AoE and left side is single target. Here's the problem with this: is like you have to be able to go into the side of the tree for your empowered Starfall stuff. And like this has always been our main. This is our main AoE button. It probably still will be, right? And so like then you're able to get Fury of Loon and you're able to get Oneths, which are fine. Like I think Orbit Breaker would be slightly better than like Oneths and stuff like that if you're going into the side of the tree. But you really need the Starfall empowered stuff. So I guess maybe if you cut off here and then you broke off to the right harder, it would be better. Like if you're able to get to like Twin Moons and stuff. I don't like that Celestial Alignment separate from Incarn. I wish that Incarn was just like a thing, yeah. Because like Incarn is really cool, but and yeah, you probably want Soul of the Forest for Mythic Plus as well. You probably want Soul of the Forest as well, just to be able to get some AoE out. And so I think that this left side is more often than not going to be your M plus side, because like having to go through Shooting Stars, having to go through Star Lord. What is this? This is like lunar. This is like some empowered lunar eclipse thing. What row is that on? The Stellar Inspiration row. Star Search and Starfall have a 15, 20. Oh wait, what? What I'm reading is the 3-point node. What is this? Oh, else. Oh, it's Umbral Intensity. Eclipse is bonus damage to Wrath and Starfire. It starts 10, 20, 30%. Wait, it's a. Am I looking at the right thing? It says it's only 2. It says it's only 2-point talent on here. Maybe I'm making shit up, but it only says it's 2-point talent. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I think that you need to go left side for Mythic Plus. I think you're gonna go right side for Raid. I think things that okay, so things I hate. There's a couple of things I hate here. Stellar Flare. Stellar Flare / Adaptive Swarm. Just I don't Stellar Flare and Adaptive Swarm and M plus strategies are overall no, I say M plus strategies dot like multi dot variants of Moonkin are unfun. Like I think just like the multi-dot variants of balance have always been just some of the worst, man. Like it's never fun. You don't want to play it. You don't want to play it. It's dog shit. TM Twin Moons being locked behind here is totally fine, in my opinion. Element plus feels like you're locked certain builds Raid versus M plus. Well, actually, let's just say AoE versus single target. Because I don't necessarily want to say Raid versus Mythic Plus, although that may be the case. Like, you're gonna have to go down this fucking. You're gonna have to go down this road for Mythic Plus, but it's like more like AoE versus single target. Wait, why did I put those things I really like? Well, it's more like have to give up something, and the decisions feel very important. what you are giving up for base spec. Like the Moonkin shit, like you're not happy to give up some of this. Like some of this at the top too. You're like really upset to give up some of this. So it really does feel like the good shit at the bottom. Really good shit. What I'll say. Stellar Flare and Adaptive Swarm are unfun. And this is the biggest thing. And this is the biggest issue that I've had. Okay. And so one of the reasons that I'm making this is probably the biggest reason I'm making this. Talking about like base kit like Starfall / base kit issues. So let's just talk about like there's like a glaring problem here. And it comes down to this like stellar drift Starfall thing that we have going on right here. So first off, it comes as no surprise if you've played Balance this expansion that Stellar Drift CD sucks, right? Starfall should be your main AoE spin. You should never be capping. You should never be capping Astral Power. Like basically, it's one of those things that Moonkin, whenever it's capping Astral Power, there's something that has gone completely wrong. And hold on, let me find a clip. Actually linked a clip to somebody the other day, and hold on.
Done after Kurdistan.
Dude, this is the craziest thing. So I pulled this up because I was talking to somebody. I was like, if you want to, like, this is the most fun that I have whenever I'm doing M+. Obviously, like this is like ground targeted Starfall, so it's a little bit different than what we have right now. But this guy is just mashing Starfall every single global and is able to fill up his Astral Power bar over and over again. And so then I see things like Elemental Shaman with it just go like Earthquake, right? Or whatever. And then like, or Warlock going Rain of Fire. And I'm like, why the fuck can I not have that? And it's one of those things that like, Starfall should be like that, right? Starfall is our main AoE, is the only AoE spender. Star Surging on AoE sucks. Recommendation is like, increase Astral Power gen from dots. And they could honestly do it from this Shooting Stars trait. Like if you have to take this, it is what it is, right? Where is the Shooting Stars trait? About this, here it is. Yeah, so Moonfire and Sunfire do damage over time, has a chance to call down a falling star, dealing astral damage and generating 2 astral power. First off, this has a target cap. It's got a root got root scaling, so basically the more targets you're dotting, the less astral power you're generating. It sucks. Like, change this immediately. Change it back to what it was in Legion. Allow us to generate way more astral power in AoE. Make Starfall stackable or hasted. I think that I would almost 100% of the time lean towards hasted or not hasted, lean towards stackable. I think that hasted and like a hasted cooldown and stuff like that is definitely an option, and it would make it better than the current system. But at that point, you may as well just make it stackable, right? And it's yeah, it's one of those things that like our AoE situation, like the spec is so close to being so sick. It could be both. Still fine. The spec is so close to being super sick, but it runs into an issue of our AoE spending just makes the spec feel like shit. And this isn't being addressed. This is the only thing that wasn't addressed like in the whole entire thing, and it's clear that it's still going to work this way. And so like in general, I'm really up on a lot of the stuff. The downsides, I think that like Stellar Flare, Adaptive Swarm Row, nobody I know likes this. And we know that at some point we're probably going to have to play it because it's probably going to be like balanced that way. And it's going to be like a single target damage option where you're enticed to pick it. But the biggest thing, if they're only going to fix one thing for the whole expansion, it's got to be the Starfall shit. Like the Starfall / Astral Power generation, notably on AoE, has to be solved. And it's like Stellar Drift, you should not be locked by a Starfall CD. That's bad. Your AoE spenders should be able to spend all of your. You should be able to spend all of your astral power on it. You should never feel either enticed to Star Surge on AoE or cap astral power. That shit sucks. It is what it is, but like it is some of the least fun that I ever have. And so the way that should be fixed is you increase our astral power generation from dots to entice us to dot on AoE, because right now we're not even enticed to dot on AoE. We're just enticed to Starfire. And if you don't increase our astral power generation from dots, we're still not going to be enticed. Again, go back and look at this clip. This is the coolest shit ever. This guy literally just mashes Starfire on these mobs, and he's generating enough astral power to drop Starfalls over and over again. Look at his astral power bar and the amount of AP he's generating. He's able to just continue to spam Starfalls here. This is the coolest thing ever. This is the most fun. Like, obviously, not many pulls are this big, so more often than not, it's not going to be like this anyways. This is like a 30 mob pull. Very few pulls are like this, but whenever you have this many targets, you should just be mashing Starfall over and over again after you have dots out. Especially with like this thing with Celestial Alignment, where Celestial Alignment is applying dots to all your targets. Banger. Like, sick change. Actually, we're going to put that in things we like. CA dotting mobs. Sick. Banger. Love it. No complaints. That is one of the coolest changes. I love that. But our AoE has to absolutely be fixed. And so increasing our astral power generation from dots and then make Starfall stackable. That's basically it. I know it's like it's multi-level. In our while maintaining Starfall be the best DPS option on 2 targets plus. If we're casting Starfall on anything more than 2 targets, it's also miserable. Starfall is seriously one of our identities. Like like just generally the spec is like one of the most iconic abilities for our spec. And our class fantasy for balance is so cool. And a lot of these abilities, you're just like, damn, I really want to take all of these. Because it's like a lot of cool shit that you've had in the past, and you're like, oh, I remember how that felt. That was a banger. Oh, I remember how that felt. That was a banger. Things that, but it has to start with Starfall being better. And there's a minor rework that has to come to the base kit. All right, cool. I think that's it. I think that's it for my stream today. GG's. Thank you guys for watching.